What's up guys, Derek here with Tap and Turn Gaming, coming at you today with an EDH deck tech. Today's deck tech is for the black-green elf legend Nath of the Gilt-Leaf. This deck was suggested to us by Chris Fenn, so you were looking for a black-green elf tribal deck with some of the new Magic the Gathering Origins elves. We have a few of them in here, we'll see how you like it. But let's go over the general first. So Nath is a 5-cost 4/4 elf warrior, so a pretty decent body on him. And he has the ability of, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may have target opponent discard a card at random. And then secondly, he has the ability of whenever an opponent discards a card, you may put a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token into play. So basically, you know, their downfall is your profit, is more or less how he works. He's got a pretty cool ability. I like his discard ability. I didn't build a heavy discard theme into this. I more or less just went for, you know, a standard elf tribal deck with some elements of discard. Because I didn't really feel that a lot of single-use discard spells were going to be really super effective with green not having a ton of spell recursion. So I went for some permanent-based discard to really help him out. So let's check out what I ran. So first we'll go over the enchantments. We have Defense of the Heart, because everyone knows Defense of the Heart is good. Dictator of Erebos, because we'll be sacking some creatures to benefit off some other things, so if we're going to sacrifice a creature, they should too. Evolutionary Elite, because it's a pretty cool card. Grave Pack, same as Dictator of Erebos. Mind Slash is really cool. 3 black enchantment. Sacrifice a creature, target opponent reveals his or her hand, choose a card from it. That player discards a card and plays ability anytime you can play a sorcery. Really nice ability when you combine it with Nath. Oversold Cemetery for some creature recursion. Palace Siege for some creature recursion. And Prowess of the Fair, because whenever a non-token elf comes into play into your... whenever another non-token elf is put into your graveyard from play, you may put a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token into play. So again, if you lose one of your guys, you'll get a guy back. It's really not bad. For Planeswalkers, we run Freyalise, Llanowar's Fury, mostly for her ability to put elves into play. Secondly, for her ability to destroy artifacts and enchantments, because being able to get rid of your opponent's toys is really nice. Liliana of the Dark Realms, predominantly she's in here so that we don't miss our land drops, so we can keep getting those swamps, although all of her modes are really relevant. Being able to give creatures -X/-X, or being able to permanently have your swamps tap for 4 black. All her modes are really nice, but she's mostly in here for the not missing the land drops. Then we have Liliana Vess. Her +1 is why she's really in here. You +1 with her, as long as Nath is out, you get a 1/1 elf as well. So they discard, you get a guy. No resource investment, really nice. Her -X tutors and her ultimate that you res all creatures are all just icing on the cake. Nyssa, her first ability will never really come in handy. It's her second ability that really comes in, where you can search your library for, you gain 1 life for each elf you control, and you're going to be doing that every turn, +1/+1/+1/+1 every turn. And you know, later in the game, if you need to, if you have the opportunity, you can -7 on her and, you know, go for an alpha strike, ripping out all your elves. It's pretty cool. And then we have Nyssa Worldwaker. She's pretty good. She's mostly in half for the untapped 4 forest to give you a little bit of mana ramp. That's predominantly why she's in here. Her other abilities, while not terrible, I just don't think they serve as much of a purpose as her 1 to untap up to 4 target forest. That's really why she's in here. For instance, we run Court of Calling. That's the only instant that we run in here. Just being able to get out the guy you want when you need him at instant speed is really, really good. For artifacts, you run Bow of Nilia, because it gives our attacking creatures Death Touch, and it has 4 great modes. +1/+1 counters, or dealing 2 damage to a creature flying, or gaining 3 life, or recycling some of your cards. Very nice. Illusionist Bracers to copy some of our activated abilities, because we have a bunch. And Psionic Resonator, because this is something that you can use to copy your triggered abilities, which Nath's is a triggered ability, so that's really, really nice. So for lands, Bojuka Bog, Command Tower, 16 Forests, Gilt-Leaf Palace, Mosswood Bridge, Overgrown Tomb, Swamp, and Tainted Woods. Pretty basic stuff. You know, nothing really out of the ordinary as far as the land base. It's the land base, it is what it is. For sorceries, we have Cultivate for the ramp, Dark Petition for the tutor, Demonic Illusion for tutor, Diabolic Revolution for an X-tutor, Diabolic Tutor for a tutor, Down and Dirty. It's really not bad. If you have Nath out, you can use the discard portion. If you don't have Nath out, you can use the dirty portion and res a card. If you have the 7 mana to invest, you can do both. Make them discard 2, you'll get 2 elves. if Nath is out, as well as being able to get a card back from your graveyard. I mostly play it for the dirty side of it. Genesis Wave, never leave home without it. Increasing Ambition for another tutor. Kodama's Reach for some more Excel. Nyssa's Pilgrimage for some more Excel. Recollect for some recycling, as well as Regrowth for some recycling. And Tooth and Nail, because it is Tooth and Nail. And it's really good. So now one of the creatures we run. Oops, let me scroll up a little bit here. So we run Corpse Trader. This is a tribal tribal elf deck for the most part, but there are some non-elves in here because they do work really well with Nath. So you'll see a couple that aren't elves, but it's because they work off Nath's ability, so for me, they thematically fit in. So we have Corpse Traders. Is a 4-cost 3/3, pay 3 mana, sacrifice a creature, target opponent reveals his or her hand, you choose a card from it, that player discards this card, and play this ability only anytime you can play a sorcery. You're going to pay 3, they're going to discard a card, and if Nath's out, you're going to get a creature back to replace the creature that you sacrificed. Not a bad trade-off at all. Deathrite Shaman, all of his modes are really good for the graveyard hate, and you're going to be making your opponent discard some cards fairly regularly, so being able to get those cards in their graveyard and then get rid of them is more powerful than just discarding them, so it's not bad at all. Dwan and Gilt-Leaf Dayan, she's one of the new Origins Lords. Reach, other elves get +1/+1. Whenever she attacks, you gain +1. You gain 1 life for each attacking elf. Her attacking and getting life is whatever. She's mostly in there because she's a Lord, and she gives the +1/+1. Elvis Archdruid, Lord, plus you get elf for your mana for all your elves. Elvis Champion, another Lord, and you get Forest Walk. Elvis Skysweeper, pay 5, sack a creature, destroy target creature flying. It's a very nice ability. Very underrated, I feel like. Azuri's in here for the just what he does, regenerating elves, so you can use him to save Nath. And the overrun is nice late game, and you could possibly just Alpha Strike and win. Fairhaven Elf for the land. Fauna Shaman for the tutor. Golgari Guildmage, because you can sack a creature to return a creature from your hand and get that creature back that you needed. The second ability for a +1/+1 counter is not super relevant in the deck. This creature is mostly in here for the ability to recur a creature. Then we have Immaculate Magistrate, tap to put a +1/+1 counter on target elf with the number of elves you control. That'll be helpful later on as you've sort of established your board control. And the way this deck establishes board control is through hand denial. Your opponent can't have a board position if you've shredded their hand, and that's more or less the way it works out. Imperious Perfect, so that way it's another Lord, and you can generate some tokens. Ivy Lane Denizen is nice because whenever a creature enters the battlefield that's green, you'll get a +1/+1 counter to put on target creature. Really, really nice stuff. Jiraga Warcaller, invest some heavy mana into him late game, and all your guys get huge. And then we have the other Guild Mage, the Kozota Guild Mage. It's another Elf Shaman. Pretty cool modes. 3 mana, target creature gains +1/+1 Intimidate. So this could potentially be a game ender if you have a big enough creature. And then the other ability is it's 4 mana, sacrifice a non-token creature, put X/1/1 green saplings into play where X was the creature's toughness. Mostly just to give yourself some board presence if you're maybe struggling a little bit on creatures. Sacrifice one of your bigger guys and just get a bunch of tokens to block with. To sort of save your board and save yourself. Llanowar Empath, another one of the new Origins elves. When he comes into play, you scry 2, and then reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature, you put it in your hand. So basically, you're just scrying 2 to set yourself up to get whichever creature you want in your hand. Pretty basic stuff. Lissalana Huntsmaster, whenever you cast an elf spell, you get a 1/1 elf. Lissalana Scarblade, you can tap it to discard an elf, and target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn, where X is the number of elves you control. Just some removal. And it's removal that will kill indestructibles as well, because it gives --. Nizumi Bone Reader, he is a rat shaman, but he is in here because he has a great synergy with Nath as well. You pay 1, you sack a creature, target player discards a card. So once they discard a card, it's going to replace itself with another creature. So really, you're losing no value except the 1 land that you tapped. So for 1 mana to make them discard a card, it's a good trade-off. Then we have Nyssa Vastwood Seer. There's a reason why she's going for $30. I'm not going to go over it, but she's really good. Priest of Titania, tap it to get mana for your elves, or equal to your elves. Realm Seekers, really, really nice card. Realm Seekers enters the battlefield with a X+1/+1 counters on it, with X is the number of lands in all players' hands. So it has the potential to really not be great, but it has the potential to really, really be good. And then you can pay 2, remove a +1/+1 counter from Realm Seekers and search your library for a land card and put it in your hand. So basically, you're just going to use it for more land later on. But this does synergize well with Immaculate Magistrate to put counters on a creature. Then we have Reclamation Sage to break stuff. Sadistic Hypnotist is another card that really, really works well with Nath. If he's out and Nath is out, for no mana or investment, you sacrifice a creature. Target player will discard a card. Discard 2 cards, and they're gonna. You can only do it when you can do a sorcery. That's whatever. But you're gonna make them discard a card, so you're gonna get a card of a creature if Nath is out. So you're gonna sacrifice a creature. They're gonna discard 2 cards, so you're gonna get 2 elves. So you turn 1 creature into 2 creatures, and then what you can do is sacrifice one of those elves to make them discard 2 more cards, and do that until their hand is done. It's really not bad at all. Not bad at all. Then we have Shaman of the Pack. When it comes into the battlefield, target opponent loses 1 life equal to the number of elves you control. Sky Shroud Poacher. Let you tutor for an elf and put it right into play. It's really cool. Sylvan Messenger. When it comes into play, you reveal the top 4 cards of your library and put all your elves into your hand. Tarfiend is another guy with the discard ability here. He's a 6-cost 4/4 with Devour 2. When Tarfiend comes into play, target player discards a card for each creature devoured. So basically what you do is you cast him. If they have 4 cards in hand, devour 4 creatures. Because if Nath is out, when they discard those 4 creatures because he devoured 4 creatures, you're going to get 4 creatures back, and no value is lost. And that's a fair trade-off. It really is. Then we have Wirewood Channeler, more mana for your elves. Wirewood Herald. When he dies, you can search for an elf card, and you put it in your hand. Runs Packmaster. When he comes in, you get a champion elf. That's no big deal. And for 3 mana, you can put a 2/2 wolf in, and it's pretty good. You know, just being able to create tokens when you want them to is nice. And Yeva, Nature's Herald. 4-cost 4/4. It has flash, and all your green creature cards have flash. You know, and your deck is predominantly green, so works out pretty well. But that's more or less the deck. You know, as you can see, we went with a pretty much an elf tribal theme with some discard added to it. Because the discard that we added is specifically in there because it synergizes well with Nath. You know, just putting in like a duress where they discard 1 card for 1 mana and you have no real way to reuse that is not as valuable to me as something like a Corpse Trader where you can pay 3 mana and do it again. Must have hit a key. But anyways, so, you know, being able to reuse it again and again and again is so much more valuable than a one-and-done spell. But as far as the deck itself, as you can see, it's pretty much split down the middle. You know, pretty much half green, half black. A lot of the black comes from the tutors and such. And as far as the base of the deck, mostly creature. Really, it is mostly creature. 1 little sliver of sorcery. So it's 1 little sliver of instant. It's mostly sorcery and creatures with some enchantment backup. And as far as the way the deck curves, you get nothing turn 0, but you go from and a little bit in turn 1, but you curve really well into 2, 3, and then start to curve down into 4 and 5. So once you hit turn 6 and 7 is when you'll be able to start dropping multiple spells a turn, or just investing your mana into those discard abilities to really continue to put the pressure on them. But that's more or less what we want in the deck. You know, not a discard build by any means, but it's a deck that runs well off the elf theme as well as running well off the fact that Nath can benefit off them discarding. So once you get them into the point where they don't have many cards left to discard, it's really easy to keep the game in your hands. It's not difficult at that point, especially with cards like, you know, Mind Slash and Sadistic Hypnotist. They're all so good. They really work well with Nath. And that's more or less what we went with the build. But this has been Derek with Tap and Turn Gaming. I hope you enjoyed the deck. Like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you think. Thanks a lot, and goodbye.